So, the movie opens with a gripping scene. A young girl is tied to a pillar, clearly the victim of a kidnapping. As the kidnapper approaches her, she immediately starts to cry, overwhelmed with fear. It's an intense moment that sets the tone for what's about to come. The scene takes a dark turn as the girl falls to the ground, begging for her life. She pleads, "Please let me go. I'll give you as much money as you want." But the kidnapper's response is chilling. "Shut up. I'm not hungry for money. I want your body and blood." He drags her to another room, tying her to a chair, repeating, "I don't want money, I want your blood and body." The tension builds as her unconscious boyfriend is brought in front of her. Desperate, she pleads with the man nearby to spare their life. But in a fit of anger, he shouts, "You don't understand. This isn't about money. I'm doing all of this for my daughter." Still clinging to hope, the girl offers, "I'll give your daughter anything she wants." The girl, desperate to survive, cries out, "I'll pay for her treatment, just leave us." But the man's answer remains a cold, unforgiving no. He grimly reveals, "Your money can't save my daughter, because she's already dead. And to bring her back, I will offer your corpses to Satan." With a chilling voice, he calls out, "Give me back my daughter." Suddenly, a strange, living doll appears before him, sending waves of terror through the girl. She is frozen in fear, unable to speak as the horrific scene unfolds. The kidnapper moves toward her unconscious boyfriend, sealing his mouth with tape. Chanting eerie spells, he pulls out a strange knife and drives it into his body. The room fills with a sense of doom as the ritual begins. The boy's blood starts oozing from his wounds, and the kidnapper carefully collected it in a glass. Watching this gruesome act, the girl couldn't take it anymore. In a frantic panic, she struggled against her bonds until she finally freed her hands. Without wasting a second, she bolted from the room. But where could she run? The place was a deserted island, isolated from any hope of rescue. Exhausted, she stopped to catch her breath, but a chilling sensation crept over her. She felt a presence behind her. Turning around, she was face to face with Satan himself, who dragged her back to the same farmhouse. The kidnapper, unbothered by her escape attempt, tied her up again before returning to his twisted ritual. After completing his dark work, he casually went to his lounge and turned on the TV. A documentary flickered on the screen, hosted by Zoe, a renowned journalist known for exploring strange and eerie places around the world. Her face filled the screen as she guided viewers through another mysterious location, oblivious to the horror unfolding elsewhere. Zoe's strength came from her 6-member team, all driven by the same passion for discovering new, uncharted places. Among them is Tori, the youngest of the group and their social media manager. One day, Tori hands Zoe a stack of printed emails and letters. Most of them, Zoe schemes through without much interest, except for one. This letter stands out, an intriguing invitation. It was an official invite, calling Zoe and her team to an isolated island, an island surrounded by terrifying legends and dark stories. Little did they know, accepting this invitation would lead them into the heart of those very horrors. In days of old, whispers of terrifying stories spread like wildfire, and among them was the legend of this mysterious island. Upon hearing of this place, Zoe and her entire team felt a thrill of excitement. At long last, they had discovered a subject that promised intrigue and suspense for their documentary. Yet, amidst their anticipation lay a sense of foreboding. They had been warned of the island's dark history. The girl, tears streaming down her face, confronted her captor. She trembled, certain that this man would show her no mercy. To her astonishment, the kidnapper did not act as she had expected. Instead, he uttered words of regret, pleading for her forgiveness. "You suffer because of me, and I am truly sorry." The girl, overwhelmed by confusion and despair, could hardly comprehend his words, but horror soon took its dreadful turn. In a cruel twist, the kidnapper seized her face and, with a swift motion, ended her life. The island's darkness enveloped her, sealing her fate. Undeterred by the grim tale, Zoe and her crew resolved to journey to this very island. They sought a boatman to carry them across the waters, but to their surprise, many refused. Tales of dread had made the locals wary, and it seemed that no one wished to venture there. After much persistence, they finally encountered a boatman who, albeit reluctantly, agreed to ferry them across the water for a steep price. However, the promise of their adventure outweighed the cost, and they readily paid, eager to uncover the island's secrets. As they arrived, the scene before them was breathtaking. The island was a vibrant tapestry of lush greenery and serene skies, a paradise seemingly untouched by darkness. But little did they know that lurking beneath this facade was a lurking peril. As they ventured forth, the team began to encounter strange sights, dolls suspended eerily from trees, their lifeless eyes watching with an unsettling gaze. The island's beauty began to feel more like a haunting than a haven. Their guide, the boatman, led them to a farmhouse, warning them that they must continue on without him. "You must proceed on your own," he instructed, leaving them to confront whatever horrors awaited them ahead. Thus began Zoe and her team's descent into the heart of the island, where the line between reality and nightmare would soon blur. Would they uncover the truth, or would they too become part of the island's haunting legacy? Only time would tell. As they absorbed the unsettling tales surrounding the island, a sense of strangeness washed over the group. Yet, their excitement for the documentary remained unwavering. The sight of flying dolls scattered throughout the landscape intrigued them. Joey, eager to capture the essence of the island. Meanwhile, the boatman, who had returned alone, felt an unnerving sensation creeping over him. It was as though someone, or something, was following him. The dolls hung in the trees seemed to watch his every move. Overwhelmed by fear, he took off running. Suddenly, a sinister figure appeared before him, a dark presence. "Please, just let me go, you can kill them," he pleaded, his voice trembling. "I came here to help. You've taken so many lives, just spare me." But the entity tightened its grip around his neck, silencing his cries for mercy. Back with Joey and the team, she began recounting the island's tragic history. "Once, there lived a man who lost his daughter," she explained somberly. In his grief, he hung dolls all over the island, believing that by doing so, he could trap her spirit within them and keep her close. At that moment, Veronica, a member of the crew, ventured off on her own and spotted a house nearby. Calling out to her team, she drew their attention to it. At first glance, it seemed like an ordinary home, but the oddity unfolded when its door creaked open, seemingly inviting them in. Joey assumed this was Julian's house, the very man who had written to her about the island. "Julian?" she called, stepping inside. When silence met her inquiry, the team followed, curiosity piqued. To their surprise, the interior was remarkably normal, contradicting their expectations of a dilapidated space. They decided to film the second segment of their documentary here, with Joey leading the narration. As the cameraman rolled, he caught sight of something that sent chills down his spine, a dark figure sitting on the sofa behind Joey. Panic surged through him, and he immediately stopped filming, alerting his companions. Fear rippled through the group, but before they could react further, Julian suddenly appeared from the shadows, startling them all. "Welcome," he greeted warmly, attempting to soothe their nerves. That night, he gathered everyone around a bonfire, sharing stories and insights. "I always thought you would come for me," he said, his voice laced with an unsettling mixture of nostalgia and dread. As they listened to Julian, the atmosphere grew thick with tension. What had begun as an exciting documentary venture was quickly spiraling into something far more sinister. What secrets lay buried within the island's past, and would they escape the clutches of its haunted legacy? Julian's voice trembled as he shared his sorrow. "I wanted to convey my pain, to share my story. But over time, I realized that most come here only to seek thrills and enjoyment. He turned to Joey, his gaze intense. I brought your team here for a reason, to tell everyone that my daughter is not dead. The air grew thick with disbelief as the group exchanged stunned looks. What do you mean? Someone whispered. My daughter's soul is still present on this island, Julian continued, his voice a mixture of sadness and fervor. I hang these dolls in her memory, hoping that her spirit can find peace among them. She gets lost in the dolls. As the chilling reality sank in, Julian warned, it gets cold here at night. You should take blankets and rest. You're welcome to stay at my house. However, the team politely declined. Joey explained, we need to capture some nighttime shots. We don't want to disturb you. While the others prepared for the night, one couple decided to explore the nearby farmhouse's basement to spend the night. As they settled in, laughter echoed from outside. Initially, they thought it was Veronica and Tori playing pranks. But soon, the atmosphere shifted as an ominous presence loomed before them. Before they could react, the figure attacked the man, silencing him instantly. His wife screamed, but it was too late. The malevolent force struck her down as well. Meanwhile, Veronica and Tori wandered deeper into the island, surrounded by the unsettling dolls. Tori pondered aloud, this has to be paranormal, there's a scary story behind all of this. But Veronica dismissed her concerns, leading to a heated debate. Frustrated, Tori decided to part ways. Joey, who was absorbed in writing the script, feeling the cold bite of the night and lacking a blanket, she made her way to Julian's house. When she knocked, Julian welcomed her with open arms. You came for a blanket? He asked kindly. Yes, Joey replied, shivering slightly. Julian invited her inside and offered her a drink, and they began to talk. Curiosity piqued, Joey asked, what happened to your daughter? Julian paused, lost in thought. One day, she was playing with her sisters. But before he could finish, Joey's voice cut in, filled with shock. What happened next? 2 sisters? You have another daughter? Joey exclaimed, shock evident in his voice. Joey exclaimed, shock evident in her voice. In a moment of frustration, Julian kicked the table, causing Joey to flinch in fear. Realizing his outburst, Julian quickly composed himself. I'm sorry, he said softly, his voice tinged with regret. This is all very emotional for me. I struggle to talk about it without feeling this pain. Sometimes it comes out as anger. Please forgive me. Joey, sensing the depth of Julian's sorrow, nodded in understanding. Julian then fetched a blanket for her, and Joey returned to her camp, grateful for the comfort. As night settled over the island, the group fell asleep. In the stillness, a shadow loomed behind Joey. Suddenly, she felt a cold grip on her face, and in an instant, her neck snapped with a sickening crack. Her eyes flew open, heart racing. It was just a nightmare, a chilling vision of her death at the hands of a dark force. She gasped, awakening to the soft light of morning, relieved to find her teammates stirring around her. However, a sense of dread filled the air. 2 members of their group were still missing. Concern grew as they contemplated starting their work without them, but Joey resisted the idea. They might be in trouble. We need to find them. One of her partners sighed. All right, Tori, and I will handle the shooting. You 2 go search for them. Tori, now with the guy, headed towards Julian's house, only to find it locked. Unbeknownst to them, Julian was deep in the jungle, standing before a tree. A green-clothed doll hung from its branches, and Julian gazed at it with an unsettling smile, lost in a trance as he connected with the memories it represented. The doll hanging from the tree seemed to grin at Julian, deepening the eerie atmosphere. Meanwhile, Tori and another team member had successfully opened the door to Julian's house. They stepped inside, settling in to wait for his arrival. After a while of waiting with no sign of him, the guy set up a shooting arrangement and flopped onto the sofa. As he glanced around, his eyes fell on a collection of photographs scattered on the table. To his shock, he spotted Tori's picture among them. The realization hit him hard. He had been lured here as part of a sinister plan. Before he could confront Tori about it, she revealed her true identity. "I'm Julian's daughter." In an instant, she swung a wooden object and struck him down, silencing him forever. Julian soon appeared, a sinister smile gracing his lips. "My daughter and I are very pleased with you," he said, his voice dripping with malice. The scene shifts to Verona and Joey, who are out searching for their missing teammates in the dense jungle. As they moved deeper into the woods, tensions flared, and an argument broke out between them. Just then, Saitan emerged from the shadows. Verona, mistaking it for a joke, laughed, but her amusement faded when Joey warned her, "This is Saitan, and this is serious. She appeared in my dream last night. If we want to escape, we need to run." They bolted into the thick underbrush, and Joey spotted a shortcut. She called out to Verona to follow her. However, as Joey sprinted ahead, Julian appeared behind her, quickly pressing a cloth to her face, knocking her unconscious. Meanwhile, Verona found refuge in an old house, but horror struck as she stumbled upon the bodies of her two friends. Panic gripped her, and before she could react, Saitan closed in from behind, hitting her and rendering her unconscious as well. When Verona and Joey finally regained consciousness, they discovered they were trapped in Julian's house, their fates now intertwined with the dark secrets of the island. As Verona stumbled upon the lifeless body of her friend, a wave of guilt washed over her. She regretted her decision to come to the island, realizing it had led to the tragic deaths of her friends. Just when despair threatened to consume her, Tori appeared, alive and seemingly unharmed. Verona stared, shocked. Tori, unfazed, said, "There's nothing to be surprised about. I brought you here." She then revealed childhood photos of herself with Julian, which also included images of Saitan. Fury ignited within Verona. "You did this," she shouted, cursing Tori for the betrayal. Then Tori told her, "No. Now your life cannot be spared. Because Saitan likes your body. So now you will be killed. Saitan will like your sacrifice the most during this conversation. Julian also comes here and tells them to forgive him, but we will have to kill you, because by killing you, our Saitan will be happy." Tori cuts Verona and Joey's hand and collects their blood in a bowl. And says some spells. The same spells that Julian said at the start of the movie. Now they had to mix the blood of all the dead people. To do this, when Tori went to Verona, Verona bit her hand so hard that her hand started bleeding. That blood got mixed with Veronica's blood, and the ritual was ruined. Seeing this, Julian was scared to fix the ritual, but when the time came, Joey ran away from there. Julian followed her to the fields, but she tricked him and went to an old house where her old friends were buried. Julian came here looking for her. But the advantage of this place was that Joey got a chance to attack Julian. As soon as Julian came in front of him, she killed him with a steel rod. After killing him, Tori came here. She was very sad to see her dad dead. Before she said anything to Joey, Joey killed him too. Now she was crying. Joey knew that she didn't kill them on her own, but she was overpowered by the evil spirit. Tan came in front of her, and Santana killed her. Afterward, Saitan completed her ritual, blending the blood of the deceased to transform herself into a human form. In the story's chilling conclusion, it was revealed that Saitan now inhabited the island alone, having claimed the lives of Joey and her entire team. She eagerly awaited new, unsuspecting souls, ready to fulfill her dark desires. With that unsettling revelation, the screen faded to black, leaving the audience with a lingering sense of dread. Thanks for watching.